pictures, but the last thing I would ever want to do is post picture. Look, here's a picture of me. I am out of town right now. You recognize that, right?
Yeah, it shocks. And then people will post, oh, while you're there, go to such and such restaurant. Well, I might have 3 days ago. Thanks for the tip, but
All right, seriously, did you do anything good? And the reason I ask you, I saw you go to concerts for a living, kind of, right?
Yes.
That's part of it. You saw a show, and you were at Red Rocks. For the people that don't know, explain what Red Rocks is. If you're a music person, you know what it is. It's a holy Mecca venue that if you are somebody, you play Red Rocks. Explain what it is.
It's an amphitheater carved into the mountains in Morrison, Colorado. It is 5,000, 6,000 feet elevation. It's a long pilgrimage walk to get there, but everyone has done shows there. Avett Brothers filmed their concert there. Neil Diamond did a concert there that's on TV. Somebody, U2 did their very first live album at Red Rock, so it's a historic place. Only holds 9,500, so very hard to get a ticket.
Is that what it? Because you see it, and I've seen pictures of it, and it looks really cool, but it doesn't look real big. So $10,000, so smaller than a hockey arena.
Exactly, half as big as Starlight, if you want to look at it that way. But the sound is impeccable. It's a natural amphitheater because you're tucked among these rocks. They are red, like they say. It's just you feel like you're on another planet. It's so beautiful and so exotic, and the music's great. I got to see Robert Plant with Alison Krauss. Of course, Robert's skipping Pittsburgh on this tour. He's only done Pittsburgh once this century, I believe, back to Pete around 2010 or so.
How weird is it to use that term and be correct? He's only done it once this century.
Right, because Led Zeppelin, their last Pittsburgh show would have been like 75, I guess, and he did the one with Jimmy Page at the old Civic Arena, late 90s or early 80s, no, somewhere around that period. But yeah, so I tell people if you get a chance to go to Red Rocks, do it. I was surprised how many people told me that's a bucket list thing for them. I thought I was one of the few, but everyone on my Facebook page said it's a bucket list. They dream of someday seeing a show there. It's worth the money. It's worth the trip. Get out to Colorado. And there's a Beaver County band playing there, but it's in November, which is a whole other tale. But
you gotta want it if you're going standing in a hole in the side of a mountain in Colorado in November.
It could be 8 feet of snow, but it's Charles Wesley Godwin's band. His whole backing band, they're called the Allegheny Front now or whatever, but they're a bunch of Beaver County guys. They record in New Brighton at Jerry Records, Al Torrance, one of the Pinchotti brothers, just great Beaver County band, Max Somerville from Hopewell. They'll be there. I'm going to be writing about them in my next column this upcoming Sunday. They have a show coming up at Stage AE.
How does that happen? How do a bunch of Beaver County guys get together and end up doing a show at Red Rocks?
This singer-songwriter from Morgantown was just looking for a studio to record some music. He wanted something a little bit homey, a little bit comfortable. He heard about this new place that opened where Jerry Records used to be, where, of course, Donny Ives recorded. So he walked in, he met the guy. It's run by Al Torrance, a young fella, and they just connected right away.
Extremely sharp guy.
He really is.
Yeah.
And I guess they like the homespun touch. The recording board there is the same one they use for Ali. So it's vintage equipment, and you get that one-on-one touch. He's not just like a number. He's not like the 10th person that day recording a song. So he formed a bond, and he needed some backing musicians for his album. Al, the studio owner, said, "Hey, I know a bass player. I know a drummer." They started bringing musicians in. They gelled. The more they played, it's like, let's take this on the road. They've toured all over as far as Seattle, Portland. They played the Ryman in Nashville, the mother church of country music, a couple weeks ago, and they got that show at Red Rocks in November. I'll be telling you more in my column, but the band's called Charles Wesley Godwin. His whole backing band's Beaver County guys and one Pittsburgh guy.
What makes a legendary venue? It doesn't necessarily have to be a groovy, wonderful place. I'm thinking of CBGB's. All right, what makes a legendary venue for musicians?
That's a good question. I guess it's a place where people go for the music. It's not just a sidelight. We're not going to, Civic Arena, PBG Paints. You can go see Ice King there. You can go see a Monster Truck, something like CBGB. That was just for concerts. And so the people went there were music lovers. They would make a mecca, I've never been there. I got to see this place, like I did with Red Rocks. So
yeah.
I think that's a big part. A place that's like the Rhyme. It's exclusively music. It's not sharing it with the local basketball team or the Monster Trucks.
Did you see CBGB's when it still existed? That's where, according to a lot of people, punk music started in CBGB's, which was a club barely in New York. Did you ever get to see it firsthand? I did.
Regretfully, I didn't. Who'd you see?
Oh, no. I just saw the place.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Think of the worst possible scenario and smell from any basement of any abandoned house. And I'm not, that's not hyperbole. It was grotesque. And it was, like you said, with Red Rocks, it was little bitty tiny.
And that's where the Ramones and
And
New
you
York
wa- that's-
Dolls, Talking Heads,
Blondie,
Yes.
everybody. If you were East Coast punk, that was one of the places you could say you played. The Police played there.
True. Yeah.
All right.
Pittsburgh, we had a little bit of the Decade, a little bit of graffiti. Never quite got to that level, but locals will talk about the days when Joe Goshecki played, Decade, and Springsteen showed up and that kind of thing. So it's, but I wish we had something as iconic here. Not yet.
Well, the smell. You wish that. And Scott, no exaggeration. It was like, oh dear God, oh, it was brutal. On the subject of Joe Goshecki, I want to ask you, and I want to ask LeAnne. LeAnne Regowski is going to be here in a little bit. Scott Tady is here now. The show that I wanted to see, things came up and I didn't get to see them, so I'm going to bask in your glow after this. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Carjackings, murder, armed robbery.
Okay, switch that. There we go. Kill that.
Yeah, I wish I would have gone there.
Dude, it was fucking just, this is fucking grotesque. I mean, like, you wouldn't.
Have you been disappointed if it smelled like Clorox or?
It smelled like what punk sounded like. And it made perfect sense. It's like, I get it, but this is vile. I mean, just stunningly. And the stage, dude, the stage is about the size of this console. I mean, it was just barely raised up, maybe 6 by 6 square feet.
Right on cue.
Oh shit! I'm like running. Where do you want me? Wait, I have to stop the box. Fire and ash, which I won't be able to see with
I just made a Joe Goshecki reference too.
Hey,
Hi.
how are ya?
Fine. You got a perfect lead in. Don't mess it up.
Go ahead.
He nailed it.
Car shoes. Oh, they're thongs.
I know.
Thongs today.
Thongs.
I know.
Flip flops.
All right, this
Thongs
is
is underwear.
That's what we have to talk about. Byron's beer, because he's gonna bring Helltown beer,
Okay.
What?
and I can't see it without my glasses. Byron Nash. Huh?
All right.
My glasses.
So you already talked about Joe?
No, I teased Joe, and I said I couldn't be there. You guys did, and that leads us into the Byron Nash. Actually, I'm just gonna say so, and I'm gonna sit here, and you guys do.
We'll go like this.
You guys just fucking talk. And my focus and interest have both faded.
We're watching halftime. Ozzy Osbourne.
I know, right?
What?
I'm from Buffalo. Go Bills.
Big Bills fan.
Bills tonight. I'm wound up. I've been up since 5.
Two of the guys on my fantasy team are from Buffalo.
That's right. You're gonna win.
No, because I've been to Buffalo.
You got my Bills coming up.
Real good friend of mine got a job in Buffalo, and and he moved up there, and it was the winter where it was literally the snow was to the roofs and everything was a habit trail, and he was I bet you might remember him. You remember Lenny? He was the music director at the X. He was about waist high. He got a PD gig moving up in the world, right? And it was at a station in freaking Buffalo. And that was the winter that the snow was. He sent us pictures. Hang on. He sent pictures. The walkways, literally the snow was over his head. He was like a hamster in a habit trail. That was his first winter in Buffalo. So
It happens.
man. Well, it's freaking Buffalo. A friend of mine grew up in Upper Peninsula, Michigan. She used to get to school, cross-country skis. That's just what you did.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. I got to come back with something manual. Here we go. It is Teleforum. I'm Eddie Crow. With me is Scott Tady, and LeAnne Regowski is here. This is being live Facebook streamed, by the way. If you want to watch Scott get uncomfortable with my stupid questions, you can see that. And LeAnne is here. And LeAnne, before you got here, Scott and I brought it up. You guys got to do something, and I was really bummed. My schedule didn't allow it.
You missed it.
So how was Joe Goshecki? I saw some of the videos, the 4019, they posted video, and it looked like it was kick tail, was it?
It was a great night. We had a blast.
But first of all, Nick from the 49teens,
Nick's the best, isn't he?
he's awesome.
Yeah.
He brought the best group from Monaco, and they were just a great audience, and they loved it, and the 49teens just had the best time. And
Is there any beer left?
there is nothing. They drank every single thing that we
Well,
had.
what did you expect to happen? You got the 49teens and you got Joe Grishecki, and
Right.
there's going to be some beer drank backstage at that show.
It was a fun night.
Well, that show was
We had a little cleanup to do in the morning.
that was a couple weeks ago at Beaver Station.
Yep.
This is the Beaver Station concert series, and I heard you off air talking about the next. Well, this is the final show, isn't it?
This is, I know, our
Right.
summer concert series coming to an end.
What's the
Um,
final show?
So it is Nashville, which is Byron Nash's full band. And we're really excited because we had Byron in the winter inside
Hmm.
for an acoustic, if you call it that, performance. And so we're excited to have him outside and full band and plugged in and let him do his thing.
All right, tell people how they can get hooked up with it. I know it's the third. This, like you said, it's the last one for the
last
summer.
one. So it's a Friday evening. You can go online to our website, rsvp.beaverstation.org.
All right, Beaver Station is the location, which, by the way, is a killer location. I hadn't seen a show until that first show with Buffalo Rose. It's wonderful, right by the train.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. And that's what Nick said, too. He loved it.
And how did it go?
It
Because-
went,
now,
yeah.
and so for you're 2/3 of the way in through the process. You do a summer concert series. Has it been as successful? I wasn't at the
yeah.
second one. I saw pictures of the
for
crowd.
Sure. We had just a little bit over 200 for this last show. This is actually the first planned summer concert series because the others were kind of happened, by accident just because of COVID pushed us outside.
Right.
So this was the first planned one, and yeah, it's gone very, very well. Buffalo Rose kicked us off, and they were amazing. And I have season subscribers that come to every single show that we do, and they just appreciate good musicians and whatever genre it is, they seem to appreciate it. And last month was just really fun. It was just fun because the 49teens had come from California and other locations, and Joe hadn't been to Beaver County in
Mhm.
20 years, and so it was it seemed like it was a reunion for a lot of people.
It's like, oh, hey, kind of
Yeah.
show. Any plans for next year?
Of course.
Yeah. Where-
Well, we're already working on the winter, so it's called Cabin Fever in the winter, and
Okay.
we're already working on that. So that's January, February, March, and April. The one thing that we did different for this summer series is we've had a food truck come to each of the. So complimentary beer and wine has been always part of the.
That's part of
admission.
the
Always
admission,
part of the
right?
admission. And that was one of the things that Nick said. They loved the beer selection, wine selection last month, so that was fun to hear him
They
compliment
did. They
that.
didn't mess it up. Well, we used to give you complimentary beer, but 49teens ruined that for everybody. You're still good.
But this is the first time we've had food trucks, and they've been very well received. People have come early to grab some dinner and grab a snack during the show. So we might try that in the winter too. I've met some really cool, just trying to get this one. I've met some really fun ones like wood-fired pizza, and so we might do some food trucks in the winter. But yeah,
For the September 23rd show with Nashville, they have their own beer.
that Byron has his own beer, which is super cool, from Helltown Brewery, and he's gonna bring his. There's a beer that was just done for him. Byron started a collaboration with Helltown Brewery about 5 years ago, and it's kind of turned into a big deal since he's started with them. But he did promotion and publicity.
Because you had a few of those at the Grishecki show, and they went quick. People were gone
done.
within. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like IPAs, it's a delicious beer.
Yeah, and he's got really cool logo. Like whoever designs the company stuff does really cool things.
Scott, I want to ask you this: are we changing how we do entertainment? Because we're talking about artists coming in with their own beer product. We're talking about very select not private, but very select small venue shows. It's not the same. When I was a kid, if you went to a concert, you stood in line, and there were 15 or 20,000 people that all piled in. Is this a good thing that we're evolving into? That it's more, I don't want to say carte blanche or avant-garde or a la carte, but smaller, more targeted?
I think so. And what Beaver Station's doing right is people come for the whole experience. They get there early. They're not out in the parking lot tailgating, oh, it's
Right.
10 minutes till showtime. They get there early. You mentioned that they get the food trucks. They get the complimentary beer. People mingle. You tried the DJ for the first time last
that
week.
was super fun.
And that kind of kept the music going between acts. So everyone just mingles. I've met so many people who have come up to me,
Same.
introduced themselves, talked about music with total strangers that have now become friends because of these Beaver
Exactly.
Station shows.
Same, yeah.
So it's more cultural than just musical. That's great.
Social, too.
It's
Social,
social,
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, everyone, especially the subscribers, everyone seems to really get to know each other, and they look forward to it.
It's, I'm reminded a little bit of the people that have had the same parking spot at Steelers games for 30 years that literally grew up and 8 times a year you see the same people and you kind of grow up with them. That's really cool. And
Yes.
you're right with the social.
Yeah.
Beaver Station is the location. LeAnne Regowski is my guest. Scott Tady is my guest. What should I have asked you, Scott, that I didn't?
Real quick, this guy, Byron Nash, the leader of the band, excellent Pittsburgh musician. He's headlined First Night Pittsburgh. He headlined the Barrel and Flow Festival.
I saw him at first night.
Isn't he awesome? He's
Yes.
a big deal. Big, strong guitar player. He'll play some Beatles, some Hendrix, some Santana. Got some originals. And the female vocalist that joins him,
Oh, my gosh.
powerhouse. Doesn't even need a microphone. She's that
does
strong of a
not.
singer. You're definitely
Amazing.
going to have a good time.
You're coming to that one?
That one I'll be at.
Right.
Yeah, I heard free logo beer. Sure.
That's right.
What do you want to get
Old
out there
Town Brewery.
before we're done?
Don't miss this one.
I'm not
If
going to
you-
miss that. I just said I'm
okay.
not going to
well,
miss this
I mean,
one.
everyone else. If you've been waiting to come see a show, and hopefully we're going to be outside. It's going to be a nice night. It's really fun to just sit outside and watch.
When is it? And give the website again so
Okay.
people can get signed
So,
up.
Friday, September 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
The food truck arrives at 6:30.
Ye-
6. Then a cocktail hour is 6:30 to 7:30. Concert starts at 7:30.
All right.
RSVP.beaverstation.org. The series has been sponsored by St. Barnabas Health System, and we could not have done it without them. It's been a really, really great summer experience.
That on a personal level makes me feel good because the world's better when we do stuff like this.
Yeah.
We grow closer, and I'm getting all mystical now, so I'm just going to. All right, LeAnne Regowski and Scott Tady, my guest. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Did you hear the big news?
It was actually about